This SD card has 6 different speed ratings, but none of them are actually helpful. To choose the best SD card for video and photo, you need a deeper understanding of the types of SD cards. And you have to know what your camera really demands in terms of speed. Don't worry though, I have got you covered. This video will provide everything you need to know about SD cards. Let's start by going over all of the markings on this card one by one. First, we have the SD card types SD, SDHC and SDXC. This is about the capacity. SD is limited to 2 GB, SDHC to 32 GB and SDXC to 2 TB. Some devices are limited to the type of SD card they can work with. For example, our sound recorder Zoom H5 can only work with SD and SDHC and won't recognize SDXC card. Another important part that is usually mentioned in the product name is the bus interface UHS 1 and UHS 2. UHS 1 cards have maximum bus interface speed of 104 MB per second, while UHS 2 cards have a maximum interface speed of 312 MB thanks to a second row of pins. UHS 2 cards are backwards compatible with devices that support UHS 1, but you should only get second generation if you need one. UHS 2 card will operate at lower speeds than UHS 1 port and will perform slower, maybe even slower than a proper UHS 1 card. Research what kind of port your camera has and get the type it supports. All other markings are all about the speed. First, there is a speed class. There are 4 of them, class 2, 4, 6 and 10. That means the SD card can write at least 2, 4, 6 or 10 MB per second. Pretty straightforward. However, this is an ancient spec and a waste of space on newer cards. Most of the cards you can buy today are class 10. Then there is also U1, U3, V30, V60 and V90. U1 is 10 MB per second, U3, V30 is 30, V60 is 60 and V90 is, you guessed it, 90 MB per second. Why so much overlap? Well, how else they can trick you into buying more expensive stuff you don't need? There is a weird marketing limitation that UHS 1 cards can't be rated at V60 or V90, even if they're capable of achieving the required speed. For that reason, this useful interior remark is lackluster in practice. This V30 card is faster than this V60 card. Some cards have speed marked as something 1000x or 1800x. This is, and I'm serious here, read speed shown as a multiple of SD read speed when it's playing audio. Why? But hey, look, here is a clearly marked speed in megabytes per second. Finally, a spec we need. Not so fast. Firstly, this is a maximum read speed. For this SD card it's 170 MB per second. But you won't achieve it in practice unless you use a certain model of SanDisk card reader. And as for writing, it's nowhere near this speed. You need to know real writing speed it can actually achieve and maintain in the device. Sometimes it's actually listed right on the card. Usually, these cards have 2 separate speeds listed. Those are good, but usually expensive as hell. For most of the cards, you really have to look for detailed spec on the package or on the website. So the action plan is the following. Find out what type of card your camera supports. Can it read SDXC? Does it support UHS 2? Narrow down your card options to supported ones. And then find what speed suits you. But how? What speed do you really need? What is the best card for 4K and for 6K? Again, it's complicated, but don't worry, I'll guide you through it. First of all, 4K, 8K is just resolution, and to choose an SD card you need to know bit rate. Some cameras can give you high resolution image, but with heavy compression, and will have low requirements for an SD card. And others may record video with some weird beefy codec and require a very fast card. For example, our Fuji X-H2S can record Full HD, 4K and 6K in the same 720 megabits per second codec. None of the suitable for Full HD cards will be able to support such a speed. It's the codec that will dictate speed requirements, not the resolution. But it's okay, for video everything is pretty simple actually. You can easily find a data rate for different recording options in the specification. Often the camera will even show you that information when you select a recording option. There is only one obstacle in your way. SD card speed is measured in megabytes and data rate usually in megabits. Conversion is easy, just divide megabits by 8. For example, if you need a card to record video with 100 megabits bitrate codec, you will need 100 divided by 8, just 12.5 megabytes per second. And for the 720 megabits I mentioned earlier, you will need 90 megabytes per second. So even a V60 card may not be enough. See, it's not that complicated. Only one more thing for video shooters. If your camera speed requirements are low, and they can be quite low actually, you may still want to buy a faster card to save some time uploading footage on your computer. For photo it's actually much more demanding and much harder to find out the speed you need. There are many more variables. You can shoot uncompressed RAW, different kind of compressed RAWs, specs with different compression. There are just too many options. Also, when you take a picture, the camera doesn't immediately record it on an SD card. First, data is getting processed in the buffer. The camera will unload the buffer only when it's done with the processing. If the camera can't offload files quickly enough, the buffer will be filled and you won't be able to take more pictures. But is it your card speed, or camera write speed, or maybe camera processing speed? For example, Sony a7R II is a painfully slow camera because of the slow processing speed. It produces 30 plus megabyte RAW file, while the maximum write speed is only 36 megabytes per second. It doesn't matter what kind of card are you using. And Fuji X-H2, even with slow cards, can take hundreds of shots before filling the buffer, all thanks to an enormous 5 GB buffer. For most of the cameras it's around 1-2 GB. And now for the bad part. There is no way to know any of that by looking at the specs. Manufacturers don't publish any information that will help you find out SD port speed, buffer speed or processing speed. You have to do the tests yourself, or rely on tests from the community, and there can be a lot of bias and anecdotes. Look for tests for your particular camera and cross-examine their results. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.